Few of us will ever stand on the pilot deck and look astern at 600-odd feet of Great Lakes freighter. But many have watched and wondered what life was like on the long ships. If you're one of these, come aboard and join the crew of the SS William Clay Ford on a round-trip Great Lakes adventure. Our fellow adventurers will be the William Clay Ford's 10 officers and 22 crewmen, headed by the captain, the first mate, the second mate, and the third mate. The helmsman keeps the 11,590-ton ship on course, while the watchman keeps a sharp lookout for possible danger ahead. There's always plenty of work for the deckhands to do. And the heart of the ship, the engine, comes under the watchful eyes of the ship's engineers. The oilers and wipers perform vital functions to keep the 7,000 horsepower heart of the William Clay Ford beating. Good food plays an important part in keeping crew morale high on a long lake voyage. And the food aboard the William Clay Ford is some of the best. Our adventure on the lakes begins at the Ford Motor Company's gigantic Rouge plant in Dearborn, Michigan. It will soon take us down the Rouge River and then northward on the Detroit River. But our round trip with the William Clay Ford begins as the ship unloads its cargo of iron ore at the Rouge plant docks. When this process has been completed, the ship departs once again for the North Country, and more of the raw material which feeds the Rouge plant's ever-hungry steel-making furnaces. When the bow thrusters have completed the delicate job of turning the ship around, the 647-foot William Clay Ford heads down the industry-lined banks of the Rouge, the world's busiest stretch of river. At every hand, there are reminders that the Great Lakes are now avenues for commerce from all the world's nations. The William Clay Ford is met on the Detroit River by the United States mail boat. The mail is scarcely aboard when we pass under the Ambassador Bridge, and the impressive skyline of Detroit comes into full view off the port bow, mirrored on the Canadian side by the buildings of Windsor, Ontario. The captain signals on the Chadburn, full steam ahead. We're northward bound for the Great Lakes. Detroit is now 7 hours behind us. The officer on duty has charted our course through Detour Passage into the middle of Lake Huron. Cruising at 18 miles per hour, in 27 hours we'll be passing through the Soo Locks. Cleanliness and maintenance is a never-ending routine on a lakes carrier. Ships undergo periodic inspections to ensure seaworthiness. All vessels must have a complete dry dock inspection once every 5 years. The hoisting of the black ball tells us that our camera has telescoped hours of time into a few seconds. We're approaching the locks at Sault Ste. Marie. The flag indicates to lock authorities, the United States Corps of Engineers, that the William Clay Ford has no explosives aboard. The mate calls for a lock assignment. The lockmaster directs the William Clay Ford into the MacArthur lock. A crew member swings ashore to secure the mooring ties. Again, the photographer's art compresses minutes into seconds as our ship is raised 22 feet to the level of Lake Superior. The locks open and the William Clay Ford steams into Whitefish Bay. 24 hours away is our destination, the harbor at Duluth, Minnesota. With the upbound passage through the locks behind them, the crew has time for relaxation and a hearty meal. When the men relax, be they officers or crew members, good food is a welcome companion. But aboard ship, safety comes before comfort. The crew of the William Clay Ford undergoes a full lifeboat drill at least once each trip. The first half of our Great Lakes adventure comes to an end as the William Clay Ford reaches her destination, Duluth, Minnesota. The ship is snugly in its berth. Its 19 hatches open, the chutes lower, and the belly of the William Clay Ford begins to stow away the first pellets of a 19,000-ton mountain of iron ore. The pellets have reached dockside by rail from a mine 60 miles away. Stockpiles are built up in the winter months for transportation during the shipping season, which lasts from about mid-April till the end of November. The loading process takes 4 hours. Hatches are filled alternately to distribute the cargo equally throughout the hold of the ship. the William Clay Ford leaves Duluth to deliver her cargo of iron ore to the blast furnaces of the Rouge plant. Like a city, a great ship never sleeps. Each hour of the clock finds some of the ship's company at work, and some at play. Day workers aboard the William Clay Ford, including the deckhands, wipers, and galley crew, work a regular 8-hour shift. Watchmen stand 2 4-hour watches every 24 hours. Off-duty hours provide plenty of time for relaxation. The Blue Water Bridge joining Port Huron, Michigan and Sarnia, Ontario marks the beginning of the last lap in the William Clay Ford's downbound journey. The helmsman lines up on the bright aiming stakes and guides his ship safely into the entrance to the St. Clair River. The traffic is heavier now. Excitement on board rises. Before another day dawns, the ship will nudge into the unloading docks at the Rouge plant. The lights of Detroit blink silent approval as the William Clay Ford passes under the Ambassador Bridge. Soon the iron ore she carries will feed the flaming steel furnaces, and the William Clay Ford will be off again for the North Country. And somewhere in the fitfully sleeping city, a young man dreams of what it would be like to join the longship on its next Great Lakes adventure.